Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Bandwidth for KnowHow is brought to you by CacheFly at CACHEFLY.com.
This episode of KnowHow is brought to you by iFixit. You can fix it, and iFixit makes it easy with free step-by-step repair guides, high-quality replacement parts, and all the tools you'll ever need. For $10 off your purchase of $50 or more, go to ifixit.com/twit and enter the code KnowHow at checkout. And by Braintree. If you're working on a mobile app and searching for the right payments API, check out the Braintree V.0 SDK. With one simple integration, you get every way to pay. To learn more and to try out the sandbox, go to braintreepayments.com/knowhow. Today on KnowHow, we're showing you a wireless camera system,
our future projects,
and your questions, our answers. Welcome to KnowHow. It's a Twitch show where we play with maracas.
Yeah, we have these left over from last night. We what is that called? It's
mobile
not Pepcon.
Focus.
Mobile
we were
Focus.
mobile focusing in San Francisco.
Yeah, it's like a little mini CES at the Metron, right?
Mini.
See, I've never been to
mini.
CES, so I don't know.
You know who
what I've
has
been
to CES here?
Alex.
Everyone else on the KnowHow crew.
Pretty much. Out of the three of us?
The three of us, the other two. No, but seriously, we're not here to talk about maracas or mobile focus or CES. We're here because we build, bend, break, and upgrade. I'm Father Robert Ballasare.
And I'm Brian Burnett.
And for the next minutes, we're going to be showing you some of the projects that we've been playing with.
Was that English again?
That was English.
Okay.
So you can take them home and geek out on your own.
Yeah. And this week, you were looking at an article about a remote surgeon?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's...
It's the future, right?
Right. Because the idea is that a surgeon, like I'm guessing a really talented surgeon who can't be, physically somewhere will remote in, like I do from my laptop to my desktop, and perform surgery on somebody with robot hands.
Yeah, and hopefully he doesn't hit escape right before he's done with the surgery. Long story, folks.
Surgery is 100% complete. Would you like surgery to finish? Escape.
Oops. No, it's been the promise for a while, this whole idea of telesurgery, right? So you've got, in this particular case, this is called the Raven 2. It's one
kind
of the
high-end.
Cool name. It's a cool name. Came out of the University of Washington. And the idea, if Alex will go ahead and roll that, they've got a surgeon who has a stereoscopic camera mounted on top of a robotic system. And he's got these very fine manipulators that he can use. See, they don't look like joysticks. They actually go over his fingers so that he can control with really finite precision what the arms are doing. Because as you can imagine, you're going to need some precision with surgery.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it was promised to us. I mean, this was the kind of thing that, in the future, you can have a really skilled surgeon who does his morning surgery in London, his afternoon surgery in Washington, and then in the evening he's in China.
And he doesn't even have to get his hands messy.
Absolutely. Now, in this case, look, he's tying knots. I mean, imagine how hard it is to tie knots with surgical thread from a remote distance. Now, in this case, he's just next to it because it's just a demonstration, but there's no reason why he couldn't be doing this from the other side of the planet.
And I guess there's enough bandwidth because this would be going out over the internet to
somewhere. So that's where our discussion comes in, because this all happens over the internet.
Right.
The original telesurgery units, they were kind of like dial-up. Or ISDN, which was not...
Sorry, there's a heavy load on the system right now.
Was not great.
Yeah, you don't want lag when you're doing surgery.
How awesome would that be if you kind of gain consciousness in the middle of your surgery and you hear the dial-up tone, the modem?
We're getting the doctor back on the line. Hold on one second. Yeah.
You've got surgery. No, so there is an issue, though.
Yeah.
This is happening more and more, and this is why I wanted to talk about this.
Because this is more the broader scope of Internet of Things.
Anything connected to the Internet. This is now, we didn't call it the Internet of Things when this was first created, but it is an Internet of Thing. It goes on the Internet, it talks to its base station, and they have a communication so that the doctor can see and he can control the arms on the other side. But even though the hardware is brilliant, the software security is bunk because they didn't design it for that. And they're not software engineers. They designed the hardware and then they designed the software to interface with the hardware. But they never thought that some troll would attack a surgery machine in the middle of surgery.
And not really even a sophisticated attack, like a DDoS.
Yeah, exactly. This doesn't have to be someone hacking the matrix to get into the surgery machine. This could just be someone spamming that IP address. They might not even know what it is. They might be running a script that's just hitting a bunch of different IP addresses looking for weaknesses. Well, the problem is because this machine is not hardened and because it doesn't use encryption of any kind, if you throw enough bad packets at it, it does what's called an e-stop. Now, it's a safety feature. It just means the machine will stop whatever it's doing and it will wait to reestablish connection with the originator. Problem is, if they keep spamming that port, it will never reconnect. And I think losing connectivity in the middle of a surgery is probably not a good thing.
No, that sounds really, really scary, actually.
It's horrible.
But so from your experience in enterprise and stuff like that, what would you do to stop something like that?
Well, I mean, the first thing is you would never put this on the internet. It should it's not unencrypted traffic. I mean, it would naturally it would have a VPN. It would have some sort of encryption so that people can't see the traffic. Because the other thing you could do with this is you could run what's called a man-in-the-middle attack, an MITM, which there's two ways to do it for this machine. DDoS it, and then pretend like you're the host when it tries to reconnect to you, and now you have control of the machine, which is super bad.
Right?
Or
this is like some futurist, that doctor
you're gonna be that guy.
Hi, everybody.
The other man-in-the-middle attack is where you start injecting weird packets into the stream, and like in the middle of the surgery, the arm will just decide to go, wah! You know, this is bad stuff.
I mean, this is almost like a movie plot now, you know.
It is, and the funny thing is, the researchers who discovered this flaw are also from the University of Washington. So it's the same school that developed the technology. Now you have a different generation of engineers who are saying, this is cool tech, but this was a really bad idea. You know, don't do this.
Well, it's not just this that we've talked about. This kind of thing is cars too, smart cars, like cars that drive themselves, and then having that separate air gap between the system that controls your brakes and the system that is connected to the internet that does all the entertainment system stuff.
We're seeing more and more of this now. It really hit in the 90s and early 2000s when companies realized, oh, we don't have to buy a private line. We don't have to lease a line, a really slow line, for umpteen $1,000s a month. We could just use the internet. And it was a cheap way to get connectivity to different branches, which is a great idea because now it means anyone who has an internet connection can do whatever you wanted them to do. But something like this, it's a cool idea to be able to do the surgery anywhere. But on the flip side, would it ever really be safe, even with encrypted traffic, to put a machine that actually has its claws inside of another human being on the internet?
I'm sure there'll be some fail-safes. Maybe there'll be a doctor on hand that just like pushes the machine out of the way and says, "I'm getting in there."
Well, I mean, if that doctor had the skill to do the surgery,
he would do it to
begin
with. I don't know.
And it's not. And again, as you said, it's not just robotic doctors. It's not just cars. It's everything that we're putting on the internet right now. Imagine everything you own that has connection to the internet. I mean, that's your laptop, that's your watch, that's your band, whatever it is that you're doing. It's sensors that control everything from traffic lights to power plants. All of these gadgets that were created at a time where they didn't really worry about security are now suddenly having to be exposed to a really insecure mess.
So we're having to change our mindsets.
Let's do a little bit of that. Yeah. All right, let's get away from robo-docs that are trying to hack us. But hack. Get it? Hacking, hacks. Hack of hacks makes hacks.
Speaking of hacks.
Okay, no, let's not do that. Oh, yes. Okay, we've been reminded by our TD that we may need to move on.
We're getting the rolls sign. Yeah. Roll.
All right. So what we have in front of us is a wireless camera system. Now, this particular one was designed for remote control vehicles, not necessarily quadcopters. I've used this on boats. I've used this on, actually, I made an FPV lunchbox. We're going to be seeing that in the future. This one I have set up for use on a quadcopter, though. There are a few things that you're going to need for any kind of wireless system. If you go to the overhead, Alex, let me show you this really quickly. This is sort of the starter kit. This one came with a kit that I bought from Hobby King for $100 and included everything I needed. This is a receiver. So this is the thing that's going to receive your signal, and it just outputs to to a screen or to goggles or whatever it's going to be.
Right.
This is a transmitter. So this is the device that's going to take the video signal that it receives from the camera, and it's going to broadcast it at 5.8 gigahertz.
That's a tiny little guy.
It's a tiny little guy, right? Yeah. And of course, you've got the camera unit, and then you've got antennas. On the other side, you're going to have some sort of display. Now, this one is a super cheap one. This is a Quantum. I mean, we'll put it this way. This entire kit costs $100 versus, like, if I were to get a Fat Shark.
Yeah.
That just the goggles could run me $300 to $500.
And Fat Shark is one of the more popular brands.
It's a popular brand. Yeah, Fat Shark, Father Sky has a couple. I like immersion rigs, but those are mostly the transmitters. A lot of this gear is interoperable with other gear from other manufacturers.
Did you have to put this together yourself?
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's why it looks so jank.
Yeah, I was wondering why there's glue showing on the sides and stuff.
This is literally, so you can assemble this on your own. This is literally a screen. So I bought this one on eBay for like $4. So this is a screen that you would put in your car so you could look at the backup camera.
Oh, okay.
Right?
It does look like a little GPS screen or something.
Yeah, it's not great resolution, but what they've done is they've created this foam mold. And if you look at the back, this is a rear view mirror camera. That's actually where you put the little ball.
Holster, yeah.
And then they give you this lens that you can move back and forth to adjust it to your face.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what's the resolution that the camera's putting out anyway?
The camera, I mean, it depends. This particular camera is decent. It's putting out, I think it's 600 lines of resolution.
Okay. So you don't really need a high-res screen for it. Yeah. Okay.
And the other problem with that is high-resolution cameras would need high bandwidth in order to make it work properly. We don't really. So
this isn't for recording purposes. Technically, we want to be able to see from the point of view of the craft.
That's actually a very good point, because a lot of people think that when you see those videos on YouTube, that's what the pilot is saying.
I wish.
No, never, unless the pilot has like a cable going from the quadcopter to his goggles.
Tethered in. Yeah.
He's got like a 50-foot HDMI cable, and he's just flying the quadcopter around his head. You can't do that, because it's just the wireless bandwidth for that would be enormous.
Right.
And especially since you're moving, we'll talk about that in just a bit.
Okay.
We're not trying to give you the rundown for all FPV systems right now. We're just showing you the basics. If you are going to create your own, you're going to need something to see it on.
Yep.
You're going to need something to receive the signal.
Got it.
You're going to need something to send the signal.
Right.
And you're going to need something to create the signal.
Okay.
Okay. And so that's it. You need 4 basic parts to any wireless camera or FPV system.
And then this is it all put together, right?
Right. So I 3D printed a little pod here so that I could put these components, so I didn't have to have them to jump out. This is not a great 3D print, by the way. It's okay. I'll make it better. Yeah. But let me show you really quickly how this would work. I've got this going out to both these goggles and to an up converter I installed in the back of the table so that we can actually show you.
So the viewers can see it.
Yeah. If you go ahead and connect that power.
Okay.
We got a bunch of power sources here we got to turn on. Let's turn on, so we got to turn on the
I plugged in
receiver.
The camera.
We got to turn on the camera, and I don't know what that is.
We've got a lot of wires on the table here.
Yeah. Turn that on, and turn that there.
Oh, I'm seeing something in the screen behind us.
There we go.
There you go.
So now we are broadcasting from this camera to this receiver here. You hold the receiver.
We should just have the whole studio hooked up with these.
And actually, here, go ahead and put these goggles on, and then so use the slide on the side there to adjust, so that it's super high tech.
Here we go. I'm immersed. It's the future, Padre.
Look at yourself.
Okay. I look as cool as I thought I did. Yeah.
All right. So hold this up, because one of the things that we want to talk about when we're dealing with these wireless systems is the polarization of the antenna. You'll notice that both of these are in the same orientation. These are circular antennas. We're going to explain in a little bit why we want to use circular antennas rather than linear antennas.
Okay.
I'm going to go ahead and do a walk around. Let me show you now. This is a higher resolution higher power transmitter. This is transmitting at 500 milliwatts, which technically in this configuration is illegal. We shouldn't be doing this. A lot of transmitters will come in 200, 250. I've even seen them down as little as 50 milliwatts. But most of the time, they're transmitting line of sight. We're going through walls, we're going through ceiling.
And here in the studio, we have a ton of Wi-Fi signals and stuff. Would that interfere with it at all?
Well, this is running at 5 gigahertz.
Oh, okay, and so 2.4,
yeah, 2.4 won't bother, but we do run 5, and yeah, it will be running into that. Now, these things will be frequency hopping Oh, you're starting to lose my mic, aren't you?
No, you're good. Keep going.
They're frequency hopping so that, you know, they'll try to clear away from any interference. But, like, for example, this is where Burke spends most of his day. Hi, Burke.
Burke.
There you go. See? There.
What does Burke's shirt say? I don't push buttons?
Yeah, something like that. So, like, oh, hey, you know what? We haven't had a chance to show the know-it-alls.
The new no-hole?
What the no-hole has been demoted to.
It looks like a black abyss at the moment.
Yeah, hold on. Let me get some lights on. There we go.
Don't trip over.
There.
Yep.
So the no-hole this is more like the crack of no now.
Yeah, it's pretty tiny now.
Yeah, I'm going to need this. Let's bring this up.
Yep, grab that.
Okay. So, you know, it's not too bad, considering all the material that we're going through right now. A transmitter like this actually has a decent amount of punch.
Yeah, I mean, the video has been pretty solid. There are little hiccups, but we are going through walls and stuff.
Right.
So.
But the reason why I'm doing this is I want people to see this is what you would, I mean, what I'm doing right now is the equivalent to getting this thing, you know, 100 meters away from you, in line of sight. But you're not going to get super steady video. You're going to get jitters, you're going to get low resolution, you're going to get breakups.
But you know what? I feel like this would be perfect for if I was flying FPV. You know, I don't need it to be super sharp, and this is way better than just trying to fly by sight.
Right, right. Well, yes and no.
You think so?
You will notice there's very limited depth of field here.
That's true. So yeah, that tree is coming up pretty fast.
Right. So like right now, I'm next to this wall, but I have no idea that that's there. So next thing you know, you bump into a wall, right?
Oops. Yeah.
So that's yeah. There you go. That's FPV.
Oh my.
Go ahead and take the goggles off. You look
ridiculous. I don't want to live in the world without the goggles.
Life is higher resolution than the goggles.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Now let's talk about some practical things with wireless cameras. I want to start with antennas because antennas are important.
Okay.
Okay. So here.
Yeah, why are they round?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Let's talk about this. So these are circular polarized antennas.
Circular. Okay.
Yeah, actually, hold on. Let's point this at something that's not so. There we go.
Yeah, because the refresh on the TV is...
It's killing me.
This is a Padre cam.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yeah. When you have a linear antenna, you're basically sending out signals 360 degrees and like 90 degrees polarization.
Okay.
Okay. So, for example, if I have two linear antennas like this, they're receiving perfectly, right?
Right.
Turn this antenna like that, and now I'm only because of the way that they're polarized, the signals are only intersecting at one point.
Okay. So
that's not great.
Yeah, you lose signal.
And imagine when you've got a quadcopter, mount your little circularized your antenna on the top. As you're yanking and banking, you're always going to be going in and out of the right plane of polarization.
Right.
Right. That's not good. That's really bad. What you get with circular polarization is rather than radiating out at 90 degrees, you're going to get a signal that kind of corkscrews away from this antenna.
Huh.
And you're going to intersect at many, many more points, and you get much stronger signal reception.
So these antennas are specifically designed for things that are moving around and stuff like that.
Right. And now let me show you what they actually look like on the inside. So those are encased in plastic. But if you didn't encase them, they look like this. These are little clover leaf. Oh, I'm going to have issues with this. Manufacturers, you know. Manufacturers be tripping. This is what they look like. Here, you hold that one.
Whoa.
I'm going to hold it. Actually, here, switch to my cam here. This is what they look like.
Out of focus.
Out of focus. Right. Now, this is actually important because there is left-hand polarization and there's right-hand polarization, depending on how and in which direction you bend these little clover leaves.
Huh.
The reason why that's important is I can operate multiple FPV systems, multiple wireless camera systems right next to each other on the same frequency if I reverse the polarization.
Okay.
So one is spinning one way, the other is spinning the other way, and I can actually put them right next to each other. That becomes important.
They don't interfere with each other?
Well, minorly. Very small interference, but most of the time you'll be able to burn through that.
Huh.
The important part is I can have multiple frequencies, multiple antennas, and have a crud load of systems operating at the same time, which means I could have like an FPV race.
Oh, and that is our goal, right? We're going to do an FPV race?
Right. We want to be friendly to other FPV systems so that we have the ability to do things like group FPV flights.
Yeah. Because that would be kind of cheap if you your signal starts interfering with someone else's while you're trying to race, yeah.
That's one of the things that when I go to fly FPV, you actually have a flight line, and everyone who's going to fly in that heat will be on the flight line. You all test your FPV systems, and you make sure they're not stepping on each other. And
makes sense.
You know, you also you're polite. So, for example, if I'm going to be racing with a bunch of other racers, I'm not going to use my super illegal 1-watt transmitter.
Right.
Because it's going to be super noisy, and it's just going to blot out the spectrum.
The first rule of flying quads is there's no rules, Padre.
Well, I mean, there's no rules, but there's politeness. There's etiquette.
Okay.
So antennas are important. So consider the antenna that you're going to use, because it's different. If this was just going to be a spy cam and it's going to be stationary, then I could use a linear antenna and I can get great reception from all
because
directions.
It's going to be moving around. It has to be.
Reverse the polarization of the neutron flow. Wait, that's from Doctor Who. Thank you. Okay, so wait, what are you doing?
Floor cam.
Wow. Very nice. Very nice.
It's much more exciting.
Now, another thing about that actual ratio, the higher this ratio, the less likely it is to interfere with someone else. So, like in my FPV kit, I keep a bunch of antennas, because if I'm at a meet, I can swap antennas. And remember, they're paired, so make sure you have the same antenna on each end, the transmitter and the receiver, to jump away from interference or just from bad signal. What you don't want to do is you don't want to create the perfect FPV system and never intend to change anything, because I guarantee you at some point, especially if you're flying with others,
you'll have to calibrate it to something.
Right.
That makes sense. Yeah, you were saying, what was this running at, like 500?
So this is running 5 gigahertz, and it uses two things. It uses a frequency range within the 5 gigahertz, and then it also uses channels within those frequencies. So theoretically, this particular system, if I max it out, I think it could do 32 channels or 32 different systems, even if they were all using the same antenna.
Wow. Sorry,
Yeah, and actually, Y Guy has a very good point. There are FCC rules, and it's not the strength of the transmitter, because it's what's called the EIRP, the effective. Or the emitted effect. It's the amount of power you actually radiate, which is actually a combination of the transmitter plus the antenna.
Okay.
But again, what you don't want to do is you don't want to just blast out a bunch of random RF into the sky, because it will mess everybody up.
Yeah. Well, now that we know how these work, what is the? Because I'm guessing you would strap this whole system to your quad, right? Correct. Battery and everything. Correct. You don't hook into the quadcopter battery?
I do sometimes. I prefer not to. It doesn't draw that much power.
Okay.
But I don't like drawing from my main battery.
So this will last probably for the flight of 10 minutes? Or
that will last way more. I mean, the draw on that, I could run that for hours on that one battery.
Because worst case scenario, you're flying it FPV and then all of a sudden, black.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I don't, because remember, the draw on the battery, the draw on this battery is constant. It's always going to be drawing the same amount. Right.
Whereas on the quad, it depends on how much throttle you're giving it. And
exactly. And I don't want to like punch out. So that means I go full power on my quadcopter, and then it drops the voltage down below what that needs.
Right.
And suddenly my FPV cuts out.
Right.
A lot of people won't do that because it adds weight. Adding another battery adds weight. Even a battery as small as that can take away from performance. But if I'm just enjoying myself.
Yeah, and if you have something like the 450 over there, you should have more than enough battery to take care of it. Okay, cool.
There we go.
So can we fly it right now?
No, we're not going to do that. In fact, what we're going to do right now is we're going to step away from this. We're going to be doing so much more. We just wanted to introduce you to this. We are going to put in the notes places where you could buy gear. Don't buy any gear yet. It's expensive, and some of these systems.
You've already whetted my appetite.
You can play with my stuff.
I need to have FPV in my life now.
We want to show you different types of FPV setups. We want to show you something from Fat Shark, something from Father Sky, some immersion rigs, because they all operate a little bit differently. They're not all completely compatible with one another. So before you go off and buy $800 worth of FPV gear, relax and see what the finer points are of setting up a wireless system.
Fine, I'll cool my jets.
There you go. Speaking of cooling your jets, something that your jets could use?
Fixing?
Fixing, that's right.
I was hoping it was that.
Segue. Now, we here at KnowHow, oh my goodness.
Do you hear the 24? Yeah, music.
Okay, now, one of the things that we do here at KnowHow is we like to tear things apart, and that's kind of our job. It's what we do, it's what we do best, it's what we enjoy doing.
We break, and we upgrade.
We upgrade. But you have to have the right tools in order to do that, which is why we swear by our iFixit toolkit. iFixit isn't just a vendor of toolkits, although the toolkit is great. In fact, this particular one we've been using for the better part of, what, 18 months?
This toolkit has helped me take apart my Game Boy. This is the last project I did. I've taken apart an Xbox, taken apart phones, laptops, just about everything. And
the reason why it's great is because it includes everything. This is the bit tool set, which includes everything you need to disassemble anything. That's the security bits, the tri-wing bits, the specialty bits for things like McDonald's toys.
I've replaced batteries on McDonald's toys for people, yep.
Yeah, and it really is the perfect complement to any project that you might be doing, because it's not just tool bits, it's not just driver bits, it's also things like an anti-static strap so that you don't destroy the electronics you're trying to work on, that little bendy, reachy thing so that you can get around corners,
I don't even know the names of half of these things.
Extension thingy. My personal favorite are these spudgers. Yeah. So this is the proper way to open something like a tight laptop case. Don't be sticking a knife or a flat screwdriver into it.
I needed one of those plastic spudgers when I did Shannon's Nexus 5. Because I didn't want to scratch up the screen.
Exactly. So you have the right tools for the right job. That's exactly what iFixit's about. Now, it's not just tools. They also give you repair guides for pretty much everything that you might need. They've got foolproof instructions to fix your iPhone screen, your red ring of death on your Xbox, swap the battery in your Galaxy X5. They've got those repair kits on tap so that you're not just left guessing what you should do next. Aside from this kit, it's backed by a lifetime warranty, and it's only $64.95, which means you're going to get a kit that's going to stay with you or with the one you love if you're going to give it as a gift. Hobbyists and home DIY fixers alike use this ProTech toolkit for everything from quadcopters to computers, doorknobs, eyeglasses, cabinet doors, sink fixtures, and more. And best of all, with those iFixit toolkits, you can fix it, and iFixit can help. Now, with iFixit, you can become the DIY maker that you've always known you could be. Visit ifixit.com/twit for more than 10,000 free step-by-step guides. iFixit also sells every part and tool that you'll need. Enter the code KnowHow at checkout, and you'll save $10 off any purchase of $50 or more. Folks, we want to help you, and iFixit wants to help you too. Visit ifixit.com/twit and use the code KnowHow to save $10 at checkout. That's ifixit.com and use the code KnowHow at checkout to save $10. Now, Brian, this is the part that you should have been doing.
I wasn't sure if it was now or if it was later in the show.
We just, we've got Alex just writing us here. It's like, oh, you're behind schedule.
Hey, next time, Alex, just bring the saddle out here on the set when you want to ride us like this.
Folks, let's leave this here. What we wanted to do for this next segment was we wanted to show you some of the projects that the two of us have been working on to give you a better idea of what goes in the KnowHow. Because, we show up every week and we've got little geeky things that we've been doing. He works a lot with Game Boys. I work a lot with quadcopters and computers. Yeah. But I'd say there's probably at least half the stuff that we start doing doesn't make it to the show, either because it doesn't work, right, or we just decide this is just, no, our audience isn't going to like this.
Well, usually by the time we bring something to the show, we've worked on it 2 or 3 times. So we've taken it apart and put it back together about that many times.
And we have to do that, because if we don't do that, then we can't really tell you how it works.
Well, the first time is to figure out how it works. The second time is to make sure it still works. And the third time is to document and edit everything. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Because, especially when we do those pre-recorded videos, that actually takes a lot of time, but it's the best way to show you the steps.
So what do you got in this bag of tricks here?
So here are a few things that I've been working on. This
looks so well put together.
So jank. It's falling apart as I'm holding it. So we've been playing with gimbals, right? Actually, here, can you power me up? We've been playing with gimbals for a while. It's right here.
This one, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to get shocked, right?
Maybe a little bit. I don't really have well insulated.
I'm awake again.
This is a gimbal that you would buy for something like a quadcopter, right? This is actually really inexpensive. Okay. That's
Padre, it's got a mind of its own.
That's not supposed to be happening.
Get it away from the table.
Okay.
The machines are taking over.
Let's try the power-up sequence again. Go ahead and plug that back in.
I don't want to do it again.
This is why.
I'm scared.
This is why we have to do several projects again and again and again. Okay, it's gonna work this time. Oh, I know why. Because the sensor fell off.
Why do you hate me, creator?
Okay, that sensor is supposed to be bolted on. I guess my super special sticky tape didn't work so well.
Right. I can see why you didn't bring this project out before.
Well, this is attempt number 1. So it's using the super cheap gimbal, which actually works really well.
Yeah,
this will keep you level, but then
when it's not trying to kill you.
Ooh. I've customized the firmware, and what I'm also doing is I'm adding this little servo mechanism here, the servo tester, so that I can change the angle on the camera from a thumb wheel. Right. No, this part is the only part that really works well. That's cool. I've already tested it. I need to put a bit more weight on the base, and I'm probably going to put a stand on either side so I can just put this on the ground.
Right.
But it's super smooth. You can get those shots like just off the ground, where you're like running, and when you look at the video, it just looks like butter.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then what I decided was, a big problem with GoPro cameras is you can't actually see what it's filming. You just kind of hope you get the shot.
From years of experience, you just kind of have an idea of what it's pointing at.
Right. So I've added this. This is a CT5 monitor that I have from Marshall, which it's great because this is professional quality. This looks really good. It's perfectly color balanced. And this will be connected through this PVC to the GoPro camera so that I can actually see at top, and I can adjust this for any angle I want, what the GoPro is actually filming.
That's cool.
Now, in the second mock-up, there's a couple things I want to do. Right. I do want to add those legs. I want to put all the wiring internally. I want to add a battery compartment so that the battery's not just strapped onto the bottom here. This will actually be integrated into the PVC itself so that it's literally a thumb wheel.
That would be nice.
And I'm also thinking about adding an attachment so that I can change the orientation. I can either have the camera at the top or the camera at the bottom. You just flip it.
Depending on how you want to do your motion.
I'm probably going to get rid of this arm because this arm really screws up the balance.
I noticed earlier it didn't seem very stable. Yeah,
it's not great. It's not great. The other thing that I've noticed about this is I've made it really top heavy with this monitor. So I'm going to have to figure out a different system. Right. Either add weight to the bottom or just reduce weight from the top.
So with all these components put together, how much do you think this has cost you, minus the GoPro?
Minus the GoPro, with this monitor, this is a $150 setup.
Okay.
It's not bad at all. It's actually pretty good.
Because I've seen there are you know, stabilization sticks on eBay, not eBay, Amazon that I wanted to look at. Ooh.
Huh? Ooh, it's tracking like a mo.
I don't.
Whoa.
It looks like it's kind of going at an angle, though.
Well, I designed it for that.
You designed it for that?
Yeah.
The little arc?
Yeah.
But they're like $300, like the nice ones.
Yeah.
That people use for GoPros and stuff like that.
Yeah. And also, those don't include the monitor. So if I took the monitor away, all of this, including the gimbal, is about $50. It's not bad.
I like that, as long as it doesn't try and attack me.
That's my firmware. I do need to do a bit more programming, but yeah. Okay. So this is attempt number 1. So I'm still going to have to refine it in attempt number 2. Yeah. I'm probably going to go like 4 or 5 different prototypes before I finally bring it on the show because this is a bit more involved. Yeah. And you know, and you don't want someone to assemble something and then you'll be $150 into it and go, this is junk. I don't want this.
No, that's. It seems like you've kind of harvested some components that we've used on other
previous
projects. Yeah.
And that's one of the things that you want in your maker workshop. You want enough parts so that you could put things together after you're done. Actually, let's go ahead and put that aside. So that's one of the projects that we've been working on. Hey, easy. One of the other things that I wanted to show you was this. Now this one is going to be cool. Let's put this on the floor. We've got so much junk on this table right now.
Do you want me to get rid of the quadcopter?
Yeah, but put it away for now. Oh, we forgot.
It's almost like somebody was supposed to clear it during the break.
I know. I don't know who that could have been though. Who else is on the set?
We need an intern.
So actually no, we need the quadcopter for this.
I hate you.
So one of the things that we've been lamenting is when we do shots with this, the props get in the way, right?
Yeah, yeah, on the edges of the camera, yeah.
So the alternative was to put it at the bottom, like a gimbal at the bottom, where you could get buttery smooth shots. But then the problem is these landing legs don't go down far enough, so you have to add landing legs, and you have the same problem.
Yeah, and I've seen some of the landing legs that you had, and it's not an elegant solution.
It's not. It's not. So what if we had a way where you could have landing legs that extended down to here to keep the gimbal off the ground, but then once you got into the flight, they would just tuck away.
Kind of like, what is it, the new DJI that kind of lifts up?
So I picked up these for $5 a pop at my local surplus store, and let me just show you what it's going to do. What we've got here is a failure to communicate.
Maybe I should walk away a little bit.
No.
No? These are safe?
Yeah, these are safe. Oh, that's not a great shot. But
do you want me to zoom in on that?
No, that's okay. So what we've got is we've got these four. So these will go in the four corners of the quad.
Right.
And I've got a simple servo trigger here. When I go all the way to the other side.
Oh.
So what you do is you have a metal landing rod that's attached to each of these, and once you get in the air.
They fold in under here, right?
Exactly. So you'd have the landing gear would be out from here, and then as soon as you get airborne, you would retract it, and they would tuck in, and the camera would no longer be able to see them.
And could you do this remotely too? I mean, you'd have to.
Well, yeah. This is triggered by the receiver on your setup.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is just a receiver cable. Now the cool thing about these is you're not going to have a problem with like the landing gear partially retracting. This only has two settings. There's all the way on one side or all the way on the other side. Anything in the middle won't trigger it.
Okay.
So it's actually
no false
super
positives
clean.
then.
Yeah, and they retract really quickly. So you can make yourself a nice setup and just make it clean.
They don't, and I mean they don't feel that heavy either.
Yeah. Don't put these on a 250.
No.
Definitely want a 450 for this because this will add what 20 grams, 30 grams.
Yeah, they're not that bad, I guess.
Yeah, but by the time you've added like the metal landing gear, it's gonna be a little bit weighty.
But this is gonna be on like a camera system.
It's a camera
so you're
system.
going with something that's already kind of weighty. You're probably gonna use a bigger battery. So
right, and to get the landing gear out of the shot, that's just priceless.
Yeah, because there's nothing you can do about that post. Yeah. It's not like you can edit them out.
Yeah. So that's another project I'm working on. This hasn't even gone through the first mock-up stage. What I've done is I've actually printed up some 3D printed housings for this to attach them to these arms. Because right now I'm basically just like strap tying them.
Yeah, zip ties.
It's not elegant.
No.
Yeah. But you don't want one landing gear to collapse because then there's no way to land it. Right, I mean,
with your valuable camera and gimbal on the very bottom.
If you've got a $400 GoPro, $500 GoPro strapped to a gimbal on the bottom of your quadcopter, you don't want your quadcopter landing on it.
No.
Yeah, and something else that I'm actually trying to do is I'm trying to tie these in to have a more advanced flight controller so that if it starts to run low on battery, it actually deploys the landing gear.
Right.
So that if it has to crash, at least it's not going to crash on all the really expensive stuff. I know. It's worst case scenario. I'm always thinking worst case.
No, that's smart. And I can't stop but think of.
I like doing this. By the way, these are PWM controlled, so you could trigger this from a Raspberry Pi or from an Arduino. Yeah.
What other projects could we play
Exactly.
with on
I mean, door locks, window locks.
Maybe like a door for the no-hole.
There you go. There you go. Something else that I've been playing with is this. This is something that's going to be used on the FPV system, not for a quadcopter, but for the Lunchbox FPV. So all this is it's two servos that have been tied together by a little thing that I 3D printed.
So for people who don't remember, maybe, the Lunchbox was our little monster truck remote control car that we did.
Precisely.
Oh, how long ago was that?
That was a while.
It was last year.
Yeah, it was last year. Yeah, it was one of the earlier episodes with the two of us. So what this allows us to do, this is going to be tied to the RC system of the Lunchbox. That little camera that we had for the wireless system is actually going to attach to the top here, and then I will have control via other channels to where it's panned and tilted to.
Oh, that's neat.
Right, because this is going to solve that problem we have with those wireless cameras, which is you lose a lot of your peripheral vision.
Yeah.
So with this, I'm actually going to have a head tracking unit on my goggles.
Right.
So if I look to the left, it's going to turn to the left. Look to the right, it's going to turn to the right.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So
and this will sit on the very, like the top shelf.
This sits on the top shelf of the lunchbox.
Although you could put it inside of the lunchbox, and then you'd be like looking out the mirrors, like check your mirrors before you go.
Then I'd have to have Greg like decorate the inside of the shelf,
yeah,
the stereo, the cup
and you'd
holder.
always have like the cropping of the image. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's something else that we're going to be working on. So we've got the gimbal, we've got the landing gear, we've got that little FPV system. The last thing that I wanted to show off is actually this. So
a brick?
We're going to be doing a bunch of projects that are going to be dealing with Synology NASs. I don't want to endorse just one company, just one product, but Synology does it really, really well.
Okay.
And so what we've been doing is we've been showing people how specifically to set up the best file systems that they possibly can. This is more practical stuff now. We get a lot of questions about building a file server, which is great. I like FreeNAS, but I mean, I've got FreeNAS boxes I've turned off because these are more efficient and they're actually faster.
And are they, how much is the cost compared?
I mean, not much. I mean, this box is like $200. This is a 2-bay, it's ultra fast. I mean, it's got 2 gigabit Ethernet ports. I use this to back up the super fast NAS that I use for video editing.
And what kind of hard drives do you have in it?
This one, I believe I did 3 terabyte Reds.
Oh, okay.
So, you know.
So like last episode, we recommended the Reds for, because they don't make a lot of heat and they last a long time and you can get them for a decent price.
And I actually have this running in RAID 0. They're just striped because I have a second one. I actually have 2 of these and they both act as backup. So rather than like using one drive for backup inside the RAID, I just actually have 2 RAIDs that act as backup.
Cool.
But one of the big things about this is that it does Security Station for free. The people have been asking about connecting network cameras to their networks and then recording the feed. Well, this will let you do it out of the box.
Okay, that's cool.
It's not an add-on.
I like that.
Yeah. And actually, there was a little device that I saw at Interom, the DS414 Slim, which they're going to be sending to us that, well, we're going to be taking a look at in just a little bit.
Nice.
Hey, in fact, Alex, why don't you go ahead and show them what I saw at Interom? I'm Father Robert Ballister, the digital Jesuit here at Interop 2015 in Las Vegas. I'm standing with Franklin Hua, who's going to explain why your next NAS may be slim. Franklin, thank you very much for talking to me. Now, you released a product back in 2014. It completely passed my email box. I didn't hear about it, but I love it. Tell me about the 414 Slim.
All right, so let's take a look at the new DS414 Slim. So as you can see right here, the DS414 Slim, it's a 4-bay, 2.5-inch solution. So it uses 4 2.5-inch bays. You can use mechanicals or SSDs. You can do up to, we currently support up to 2 terabyte mechanicals right now in this guy. And it is a Synology NAS. It still has the same great functionality as Synology DSM. Retails under $400 US, but yes, it is a 4-bay solution. The fan only turns on when it needs to. So if you use a pure SSD environment, it is very, very quiet. It's silent.
I have been toting around 2 and 4 bay NASs when I really need to, like when I'm doing an off-site project. But the idea that I can carry something in my backpack, and yeah, Synology NASs are already pretty light, but something this small, this slim, with that much capacity and that much, well, redundancy, that makes it just really, really nice. How have these been selling?
These have been selling very good. I mean, we have a lot of customers who are interested in these, and there's some of them are interested in like home environments or also in business environments, even remote offices. Sometimes you get a project site, you go to one site, set it up, get your network running, all right, do your project, okay, done. Close the site, move to the next site, put it back up, get everything going, close it, move on. We have a lot of customers that do use a 414 Slim for that specific application because you do deploy pure SSDs, it's rugged. That's the key thing. It's like it's rugged. You don't have to worry about dropping it or shaking it like this. This will probably damage mechanical drives if I'm doing this. But with SSDs, pure SSDs environment, you don't have to worry about mechanical problems.
We're definitely going to want to get a 414 Slim on before you buy, but here's the funny part. That's not even my favorite bit about this first look, because inside of every Synology NAS is an operating system that is feature-packed. And I want to talk about one of those features, and that's the surveillance station. It's with every single Synology NAS that you ship today. What does it do?
So with Synology Surveillance Station, it basically turns your Synology NAS into a network video recorder. And I'm going to take a little demonstration right here. So this is what you normally see with Synology DSM, but I've already installed the Synology Surveillance Station app. So I'm going to tap right here, and I'm going to load Surveillance Station, and it's already loaded right here. So I'm going to jump into Surveillance Station, and then I'm going to turn on my live view. I got a camera right here, and this is the live view from that camera. Let me just give it loaded. And I can do tap around. So basically, with Synology Surveillance Station, it turns this into a network video recorder. Put this on your network, you have a network video recorder. So you can record. We're compatible over 3,000 different IP cameras from over 80 different brands. We have PTZ support. We have it where you can record high definition cameras, standard def, up to 30 frames per second. We got it all. And also we have notifications built in. So if you turn on, let's say, motion recording, you can get an alert that someone has tripped a certain area of your door perimeter, and you can get the alert on your phone. We also have timeline management, so you can view up to multiple streams concurrently. You can track what has happened. How about we also have it where if I'm wearing a hat, and I'm walking around in the frame wearing a hat, you can set up Surveillance Station where start searching all the video indexes of where is this guy with this hat, and you can figure out how many times I've been in your building. So it's great for the home, great for businesses. If you want network video recording, we got it.
Okay, I was wrong. This is not just for before you buy. We're also going to have to show this on KnowHow, because I know there's been a lot of people asking about DVRs and this kind of capability. Well, maybe you could just get it when you get your next NAS. Franklin, thank you so very much for talking to us. Now, if they want to find out more about Synology, where do they go?
So for any of our customers who are interested more about Synology products, please check out the website Synology.com. That's www.synology.com. You can click on Surveillance Station or the Surveillance Station solution at the top of the menu. You'll see everything I've talked about right here. If you're interested in the DS414 Slim, just click on the product link, click on DS414 Slim.
I was absolutely exhausted after that interview. I think he was it was the beginning of the conference, and he was just
like super excited.
Yeah. You know how like you carb load before a bicycle race? I think he had done that with coffee.
I'm getting ready.
That was like
the
third take, and I kept saying, I'm like, dude, you got to slow down. You
got to slow down. He was just really excited. And I can see why. It was pretty neat stuff.
I did one with him later on for This Week in Enterprise Tech.
You should have done one at the very beginning and then one at the very end of the conference and just see like, all right, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I'm dead.
No, but I do like those Synologies, and they are sending us that 414, and I do want to show people what you can do with it. I mean, all of Synology's NASs, a couple of people in the chat room had it dead on, which is they can be a little pricey. I mean, you can get cheaper NASs, but the quality of the build, the operating system, and just what they include in the box.
Yeah, I love that.
It blows everyone else away.
Like you were saying during the break, it's pocket size. Well, I mean, it's close to being pocket. Very big pocket size, but that's something you can pick up and take with you.
It's dead silent. It's so quiet. And actually, we're going to be loading them up with these. We've got these Savages from Kingston. So it's going to be, not only is it going to be super fast, but it's going to basically be indestructible. I mean, it's not like a hard drive where you put enough shock to it, it's going to disintegrate.
Right.
These, I mean, you would kill yourself.
Or if you drop it or something like that, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. So we have that to look forward to as well.
Very cool.
Now, we are going to be jumping into a little bit of feedback. I know the episode's running a little bit long. You know,
is it, Alex?
Isn't it strange how we always seem to pack a bit too much? I don't know why that is.
It's just because we have so much knowledge that we're trying to get.
We have so much love. We want to give.
That must be it. Hey, look at the camera.
Hey, the camera's
it's a table cam.
Actually, let's put it on the quadcopter. There we go.
Facing the coffee cup.
Yeah, that's not good. But before we do that, let's go ahead and take a moment to thank the second sponsor of this episode of KnowHow, and it's Braintree. Now, if you don't know what Braintree is, you're going to know soon enough, because it is the easiest way to add payments to your website. Now, Brian, I'm a much older person than you.
Not that much older.
Yeah, like 20 years.
I mean, you don't act
like
that much older is what I was going to say.
Okay, I'm immature, but age-wise, I come from a time before people had figured out how to make money on the interwebs thing.
Right.
And actually, when we started adding payments, when we started adding ways to give donations or maybe to pay for services and products, it was all sort of, well, you make your own solution. Hopefully, it doesn't get compromised.
Some sort of patchwork system.
Yeah, and the very first e-commerce system I ever created, it took me, it was like 3 months just to come up with it. It had never been done before.
Yeah, and I'm sure at the time you just wanted to focus on the stuff that you liked.
Exactly.
And I mean, getting paid is great.
I would work a little bit on the e-commerce system. I'm like, I don't need to get paid. And let's go back to doing something that was fun. Because it's just a nightmare. The way my original system worked was you could accept payments securely, but then there had to actually be someone to verify each transaction onto the financial network. It was not good.
Right.
Well, there's an easy way to do it, right?
And that's Braintree.
That's Braintree.
And it sounds like it's pretty simple to implement.
10 lines of code.
Yeah.
That's it. 10 lines of code. And you can add the Braintree API to pretty much anything. You want to put it into an app, you want to put it onto a website, you want to accept donations, you want to accept payment for services. Braintree has got it all.
And it'll do different currency exchange rates.
Absolutely, yeah. You could use credit cards, you could use Bitmo, you could use Bitcoin, Venco. I mean, pretty much any way to pay, Braintree's going to let you do it.
Cool. I mean, Kevin Rose was on Screensavers last week, and he was saying that one of the last things he was doing at Google Ventures was they were going to try and get Braintree, but they couldn't.
Exactly. Well, I mean, yeah, it's one of these things that it does change what you can do, especially if you're an independent app developer and you want to add payments. You don't have to go through what I did and develop 3 months of code exhaustively and then figure out where the weaknesses are going to be. You can count on Braintree to offer you secure transactions in your mode of choice. Now, the Braintree v.0 SDK makes it easy for you to offer those mobile payments. You can start accepting PayPal, Apple Pay, Bitcoin, Venmo, cards, and more, all with that single integration, those 10 lines of code. It's simple, it's secure, and developers, they got you. You're not going to have to worry about integrating like I did. With Braintree, you can have it done in minutes. In fact, I wish I had this back in my day. The Braintree code supports Android, iOS, and JavaScript clients, and their SDK comes in 7 languages: .NET, Node.js, Java, Perl, PHP, Python, and Ruby. It's elegant code with clear documentation, and as I said before, it's just 10 lines of in-app code. Braintree gives you an easy way to accept multiple payment types with one integration. Quick, knowledgeable developer support if you have any questions, and you can start accepting Apple Pay, PayPal, Bitcoin, Venmo, credit cards, and whatever's next, all with this single integration. Trust Braintree. With that v.0 SDK, one small snippet of code, and you're up in less than 10 minutes. Now, to learn more and to get your first $50,000 in transactions fee-free, I mean, think about that for a second, what they're offering you. Go to braintreepayments.com/knowhow. That's braintreepayments.com/knowhow. And we thank Braintree for their support of KnowHow.
Now I just need to make an app so I can use it.
Well, Jeff Needles has an app. He
Go
kind of
talk
put
to
it in
Jeff?
your stats. There you go. All right, we're going to do a little bit of feedback because we do value your support and we want to make sure we answer some of your questions. What do we got for the first one, Brian?
All right, so our first feedback question is, can I has, that's with a Z, SSD media player? And this comes from Chris Bachman. He's thinking about making a Plex server. Considering that I have a budget, I would like to get a bunch of SSD drives for the media storage, since there would not be a lot of writes to the drives. Maybe using a Western Digital black drive for the temp drive. Since 1 terabyte SSD drives are available but expensive, and I can put a ton of them in my old Victrola cabinet.
Scroll down, Alex, so he sees what a Victrola cabinet looks like. They are classics.
What?
Right?
Okay.
Right?
So that's not something that was built for.
No.
But it does look cool. Would it be a good long-term solution to media storage? What are your thoughts? Looking for second opinions.
First of all, Chris, I love this project.
Yeah.
You are going to get a lot of hate from people who think you shouldn't tear apart that cabinet.
Is that like a pricey thing?
Well, it's kind of a classic, you know. But I'm betting it's not working anymore. It doesn't look like it's in great shape, so you're actually refinishing it. And I understand what you're saying. Some people on the thread have already said, this is stupid. Why would you use SSDs for, media? And I know exactly why.
Cool. And
they're cool.
They're fast.
They're fast and no power. Basically no power.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So because what he wants to do is he wants to create a big, chunk of storage. And he says cost is no option. I
mean, the man has
obstacle.
a Victoria cabinet. I mean, obviously, cost is not an issue.
Exactly. So you can put a bunch of these into that cabinet, not generate a bunch of heat. And here's the best part. Remember what wears down SSDs?
It's the read-writing, right?
Well, it's just the write.
Just the write.
Just right. Because reading does nothing. Reading is just checking state.
Right.
What wears down SSDs are the writes.
Right.
Now, if it's a media server, which means you're just loading it up with a bunch of DVDs or whatever else.
And that information, that data is just staying there, and then you're just reading it after.
It writes once, and then it just stays. So as long as you're not overwriting files, deleting stuff, you don't have to worry about wearing down the SSDs. In fact, you don't even have to go with something like the Savage. I mean, I would use this for high performance applications.
I want to try that with gaming.
Actually, we are doing a project with these. Actually, I should have mentioned this in future projects. We're redoing the desktop, the power desktop. Remember the benchmarks that we did to show where the best bang for buck was?
And I think, wasn't the conclusion SSD?
It was always SSDs,
yes,
right.
Yes.
But we're now doing one where people have asked specifically, not benchmarks, show us something like Adobe Premiere. What's the best way to make a video editing machine? So we're going to be showing what high-performance SSDs, video cards, CPUs, and memory can do for that. I actually don't know how that's going to turn out. But back to this thing. You could go with low-end SSDs, not the super budget ones, but not the fastest on the market, because it's still going to be faster than your network interface. Yeah, and I would say, yeah, do this. This sounds like a fun project, and when you finish it, make sure to send us pictures, because I would love to see what kind of Frankenstein's monster you create.
Yeah, I would definitely like to check that out too. Yeah. So should we move on to the next feedback? Yeah. This one comes from Eric Elsinger. Smoke and solder. He went.
He gone by.
He gone by. Should I do this one in an accent? No. Yeah. I gone buy a new soldering iron from my first real quad build, and I saw they sell a 25 watt and a 40 watt version. I guess the 25 will be enough, or should I get the 40 watt? That's a tough question.
Not really.
No.
Not really. Okay, so here's the thing. Here's a 40 watt. Here's a 25 watt. They're exactly the same price, and these are both kind of junk. I do.
Most of the soldering irons we've been using are junk, Padre.
I have one really good soldering iron, and I don't use it that often because I don't want people to think that you need to go and buy an $800 soldering station to do the projects that we do. I mean, you've seen the close-ups of my tips. My tips are...
They're garbage. They're garbage tips, Padre.
They are garbage tips. Here's the thing about 25 versus 40 watt. 25 will work for most all applications, especially the ones that we're doing, simple soldering. What 40 watt does is it gives you the ability to advance a tiny bit. Let me explain this. Like, for example, when I'm soldering connectors, I need to transfer enough heat into that connector in order to be able to melt the solder, but not melt the surrounding plastic.
Which I have done, yes.
Which you have done, and I have done too. That's not great to use a 25 watt, because a 25 watt's going to need too much contact with that metal before it heats it to the point where it'll melt solder. Okay, so what you want in that case is you want really quick heating. That means a 40 watt or above.
Makes sense.
But when you're using higher powered irons, it also means you're transferring a lot more heat. So you do have to be quick, right?
So I guess that comes with practice?
It comes with practice. And what I say is these are so cheap. This was like $5 and this was maybe $10. These are so cheap. Why not pick up both? Start with the 25, figure out when you need to start going up to more. And you know, if you feel like you've got a little bit of extra money, why not buy one of the, like the 80 watt Weller station that actually has the variable temperature?
And then you can dial it in.
And then you can dial it in, right? But cool. it is practice. You're going to find that most cases, 25 works just fine. When you start working with fine components where you have to be really worried about spreading too much heat, you're probably going to want something with a little higher wattage, but you need the practice so that you could do it really quickly, because you can't just stick it on the component and wait, because you will destroy stuff.
Okay, cool. Yeah, soldering is a fine art that I am still trying to get the hang of, but I love doing it.
I am bad at soldering, but I enjoy it.
I do. I mean, once you put everything together, you know,
I like that high I get when I'm breathing.
You know what? Smitty said no. No. Because I was like, oh, how bad could it really be? It's pretty awful. All right, so final feedback?
Final feedback.
Okay, last one. I'm getting dizzy from spinning. This comes from Eddie Hughes. Just sit still. Oh, so we got video for this. Whoa.
Okay.
Anyone know why my 450 class yaws so much? It is constantly turning clockwise. No.
Oh, no.
And is a shot of this. I have no yaw control on my transmitter. I am using the APM 2.6 flight controller, but everything else except the landing skids are stock from the KnowHow list. I have recalibrated my accelerometer, compass, and the ESCs a bunch of times, and as well as auto-trimmed and auto-tuned, but nothing seems to work. I tried different flight modes, loiter, alt-hold, acro. What's acro? Acrobatic?
Acrobatic, yeah.
Okay. Sport, drift, etc. Nothing allows me to regain my yaw control on my transmitter. In the video, I had RTL engage, and this was the result. Any help is appreciated.
Okay, first of all, Eddie, I feel your pain. He actually gave us permission to use this. I don't want to make fun of him. This actually does happen. This happened the first time I put a 450 up. I was having the exact same problem.
This, I'm glad he sent us the video, because I would just probably tell him, well, lay off the stick. Oof. Ooh. Oh, poor guy.
Now, most of the time when you have yawing, it's going to be trim, right? And so you just have to go into the subtrims. This was incredible yaw. He was saying like he was full over on the stick and it didn't stop. So obviously there was something else wrong. So what I actually asked him to do, and Alex, if you bring up this picture, I said, could you do me a favor, take a picture of your quad and post it to the group.
So you can look at all the wiring and
I just wanted to see what it looked like. Alex, if you could bring that up.
Was there anything left of his quad after?
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't a bad crash. This is what he sent me. Now, it looks like a standard quad, but what I noticed almost immediately is if you look at the rotation of the propellers. And remember, so this is upside down, so that the bottom right-hand corner is number 1, and then bottom left is number 2, and then top left is number 3, and top right is number 4. And remember, number 1 and number 3 should be rotating in the same direction.
Right.
Number 2 and number 4 should be rotating in the same direction. Oh. And that's not the case. In this case, he actually flipped the top 2. Number 1 is actually spinning counterclockwise, and number 2 is actually spinning clockwise.
Oh, well, that's not a bad fix then.
Well, no,
it's not like he has to replace hardware.
No, he just all he had to do was he had to swap the leads on the motors, and then flip the propellers. But it was amazing. The reason why I wanted to bring this up, it was amazing that the thing was actually flying. At all, because he had.
So be impressed with yourself, Eddie.
He had the 2 clockwise on this side and the 2 counterclockwise on this side. And I'm just like, how does that go up?
Based in our reality of physics, we're not sure how this worked.
I think you have a special quad. No, but he said he had flipped it, and he's flying great now. So, and that's what we want, folks. Especially when you run into trouble, post.
And video helps too. And pictures, video, that helps us.
There we go.
Cool.
Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of KnowHow. In fact, we've gone way over, which our TD is now reminding us of. Now, next week, we do need to do the in-depth segment on this FPV. In fact, Alex, if you go ahead, go back. We're going to show you exactly how this FPV system works. We're going to show you how to install one and how to assemble the kit. And I believe we're also going to be doing a little something on, I think we got NAS. Oh, that's right. There's a network question about NAS.
A network question?
Yeah.
Should we just, I think Alex was suggesting we have these on our heads for the next show, and then we just do the whole show like this?
I'm down.
Are you cool with that, Al? Yeah. Yeah, he'll do the switching. Ugh. That is not, nobody needs to see that, Podge.
Okay. So anyways, we know this was a lot of material. Make sure to go to our show page, which they can find where, Brian?
That's at twit.tv/KH. All our previous episodes are there too. And yeah, definitely check out the detailed show notes, because Padre will have all his links. And you do the price outs and everything too.
I'm going to do the price, but please, don't buy the FPV stuff yet. I know people want to jump out there and buy it, but you don't want to buy the wrong gear. Find where your comfort zone is going to be. We're going to show you that over the next couple of episodes, and then buy the right stuff.
Cool. And that's not the only place you can find us online.
No, you can find us on our Google Plus page. Just go to Google Plus and look for the KnowHow group. We've got over 8,500 active members.
Yeah.
I seriously, aside from maybe the All About Android community, we've got the most active group in Twit.
Oh, they're super active. Yeah. And we get videos. We get crash videos. So.
And folks, I do like your feedback, and please keep writing. I get grumpy pants sometimes.
It's all,
because it's a labor of love. But But I really do like hearing from you, and we pull a lot of our segments straight from that group. So please go in, ask questions, post pictures of your projects. We'll get as much as we can on the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's also Twitter, right?
The Twitter's right. You can find me at twitter.com/PadreSJ. That's at PadreSJ.
And I am at cranky_hippo.
And our TD is at ANEL. Oh my gosh. Is at 12:30:11. And,
let's get a quick shot of the outside though.
Should I tell John that I didn't waterproof that camera?
It just started pouring during the show. Like, it was kind of hard not to say anything about it because it was so loud out there. I know. California's getting rain.
Until next time, I'm Father Robert Palliser.
And I'm Brian Burnett.
And now that it's raining,
go get some water.
Wet.
Go do it. I don't know how we end on that. Umbrellas for everyone.
Nailed it.